Hi there, and welcome to CBD and Essential Oil Talk Radio with Marc and Nikki, where we talk about realistic and fun ways to have a healthy family life and how CBD and essential oils fit right in. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk to Heather Dawn Godfrey, the author of Essential Oils for the Whole Body. She'll be joining us to talk about the dynamics of topical application and absorption of essential oils. I've been waiting for this for a long time, and she's actually calling in from England, and she has the accent and everything. So us here in Texas, we're going to have a whole lot of fun with that. What do you got going on?
Well, today I am going to talk a little bit about what are digestive enzymes and why we should take them.
Oh, awesome. We learned a lot about that over the last couple of days,
and I'm
right?
going to give you my take on that, what I think I learned.
Oh, perfect. All right, so we are diffusing Raven Sarah in the office today. Now, this is the first time that we've diffused this particular blend. Did you notice it when you came in today?
I noticed a certain scent, and I loved it.
Unfamiliar, right? Cool. All right, well, my wife's always doing something fun and unique with diffusing. So, all right, a quick note for folks out there interested in getting started with a premium CBD oil. Go with the brand that Nikki and I personally use and trust, Young Living. Text the word CBD to 210-910-4174, and we'll send you some information and a link to get started and save over $100 on the perfect CBD starter kit. So this kit comes with essential oil infused CBD oil drops, an amazing roll-on. This roll-on, super popular. It's called Calm. It's infused with oils such as lavender, vetiver, ylang-ylang, and other essential oils, and a powerful muscle rub infused with peppermint, helichrysum, wintergreen, and some other oils that are super popular for topical application for joint discomfort and muscle issues. So if you're interested in that, text the word CBD to 210-910-4174. We'll send the information right to your phone. You can't get any easier than that. And of course, when you purchase any CBD or essential oils, you get an exclusive invitation to join our private CBD and essential oil community where you can connect with us and continue to learn amazing ways to use these essential oils and CBD. So text the word CBD to 210-910-4174 and we'll get that information sent right out. What do you got going on, Nikki?
All right. So, Mark, quite often after I eat a meal, I notice that I have some bloating, right?
Sure.
And it's not like I'm eating chili dogs and you know, fried catfish.
Or Frito pie.
Right, exactly. Well, sometimes it is true. But it's like, okay, I had a half a turkey sandwich and that's it. And I mean, I feel like I just had Thanksgiving dinner. Like I just feel so bloated. I guess that's the word I'm going to use because I feel pregnant, like 9 months out there. Like, what's going on with me? So here's what I thought. I thought, okay, well, you're getting older and it's just one of those things. Your body changes and accepts food or it doesn't accept food, and that's just how it's going to be. Now, this has been happening for 4 or 5 months. So I've been eating less and less, which isn't a bad thing, but the aftermath of feeling, you know, what I was feeling.
Sure.
So yesterday we had this learning event, right? It was very powerful. We learned a lot. And I found out, in fact, that that's not the case for me. It's not just because I'm getting older and my body's changing. I dug a little deeper, right? So last night I went home and I started doing some research. And according to the National Institute of Health, 60 to 70 million Americans are affected by digestive diseases and issues just like me. That's pretty crazy. That's a lot of people out there with gas. Watch out. No, it never gives me gas. It's just bloated. I never said gas.
Maybe that's the whole global warming thing. I mean, I don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe it's not cows.
Maybe we just tapped into something there. Okay. So there's something we can do about it though. There's things called digestive enzymes that help the body break down compounds in foods such as proteins, fats, starches, and carbs. And we learned all this yesterday. Well, if you're not replacing the enzymes in your body naturally by eating certain foods like pineapples, bananas, avocados, or ginger, then we need to replenish it. And we can do that by taking a quality supplement. Sure. And lucky for us, we know Young Living has a variety of enzymes that can help us with these issues. Now, directly from Young Living, the one I chose for me is called Detoxime. And that combines a combination of powerful enzymes that complete digestion. This is what it says right on their website, to help detoxify and promote cleansing. Now, the ingredients in Detoxime also work with the body to support normal function of the digestive system,
sure,
which is essential for maintaining and building health. So how awesome is this?
Yeah.
This is so going to help me. I've never taken an enzyme before because I really hadn't done the research or even known about them. So I am someone who doesn't take enzymes. For the last 4 or 5 months, I've been having an issue. And what do you know? I found out at yesterday's event that I'm going to be able to remedy that just by taking a supplement.
They were passing around, I think it was
Detoxime.
It was Detoxime, right?
And you took some.
Yeah, I did. And so I've taken it before, and it's got because it's infused with essential oils, it's got a very distinct smell to it. And I want to say
it has fennel and tarragon and cumin in it.
Cumin, yeah, that's what for me stands out is cumin. I'm not a huge fan of cumin, but
so so you can taste it, or you just smell it?
No, just smelled it.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't taste it.
Did you notice after you took those Did it do something for you?
Well, so I mean, we had steak. I had steak, right?
Okay.
And mashed potatoes, and that usually sets heavy on me, and I really didn't have an issue. I wasn't even really thinking about it.
That's a great term, sets heavy. That's what my food does. It just feels heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to be taking this. And even a cooler thing, they make these for kids. So if your little ones are out there, I know I have a lot of mom friends, and they're like, my kids are always bloated or constipated or something. Maybe they need enzymes because, a kid's diet and our diet's very different.
Very processed nowadays.
Yes. So I'm very super excited about that. And I can put some information on our blog. If you have inflammation in your belly, then I'll put some information on our blog that can help you.
Well, and if you do any kind of research with respect, of course, the enzymes we know are good, but when you start looking at essential oils and or spices, let's just say spices, for example, they've been used for digestive support for a very, very long time. So if you can reduce, maybe inflammation or irritation, or you can facilitate the absorption process, then that could be a good thing. So it's just interesting. They know what they're doing back there with testing all this stuff, but
anyway. So
Anyway.
that's wonderful. So again, back on our blog, you can find us at eotalkradio.com/blog. And if you have any questions for me or Mark, just email us, Nikki@eotalkradio.com or Mark, MARC@eotalkradio.com.
Sweet. Thanks, Nikki.
You're welcome.
All right. So a quick word from our sponsor for the show is the San Antonio Empowerment Council, who we just had this huge event. I mean, we had 300 people one day, over 100 people the next day, and then we had our online stuff, right? Couple of glitches, a little bit of a learning curve as we got through that. Of course, the digital replay will be available very, very quickly for folks so they can catch a high-quality replay without any of the technical glitches, we hope, up on Vimeo. But anyway, they've got another one coming up on Saturday, April 4th. It's going to be right here in San Antonio. Of course, it'll be online as well, but with Dr. Peter Minke, who holds a PhD in molecular cell biology and has a wealth of experience in how essential oils interact with our body chemistry. This is an event that many people have wanted to get here in San Antonio, and of course, the San Antonio Empowerment Council's got that done, and we're going to be broadcasting it everywhere for folks to benefit. We're continuing to get registrations as we go. So people are hearing about it. They want to check out the one we just had. And, of course, we're promoting the next one as well. So for all the details on this and other events, you can visit saecevents.com and get that info. Again, it doesn't matter where you're at. You could be in England. I'm just saying.
That's right.
And you could watch this, and you could hear from somebody who has years and years of experience and PhD and all that kind of stuff. And not only, education's great, right? But it's the application of that education, the experience of actually dealing with folks and working with them in situations where they're using essential oils and products to great benefit. Our folks are going to be able not only to hear 4 hours of teaching from this guy, but they're also going to have a Q&A lunch that they'll have access to.
Oh, that's so awesome. And you know what? From this weekend's event that the Empowerment Council did put on, the word for me is powerful. There were so many stories.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Powerful is the word. I always walk away with a word from, hey, what went on at the rally or that event? And powerful is that word for me.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun, right? I mean, she's
so real. Like, she's just like, hey, my girlfriend next door. Not your girlfriend next door.
Her backstory on, of course, how she got involved with essential oils and then using them for like 28 years.
Yes.
And then, of course, going out to the farms and just knowing the process from start to finish and sharing with thousands. I mean, her organization's over 1 million people in her organization, and she's helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people personally with tips and suggestions and stuff on how to use not only essential oils in all kinds of ways, but
these supplements we're talking about. Yeah. And just her stories of her life and her children. She's just a beautiful person. I really enjoyed being around her.
I like being around people that are passionate about what they're doing, and not only passionate, but they know what they're doing. Because passionate and not knowing, it could be a little crazy, but
a little different.
Yeah. And then, of course, Dallas, he talked a lot about the farms, being at the farms.
Yes.
And so we talked about a sandalwood farm, a helichrysum farm up in Croatia that Young Living has. And then there was a Hawaii. That's the sandalwood farm.
And then, he talked about wild catch,
wild crafting.
Wild crafting, yes.
And how bad that was for the helichrysum industry because you had people because they buy by weight, and they were just out there pulling up the helichrysum. And, of course, the government had to step in and say, no. But then Young Living got a farm that they could actually set up there. It's a partner farm that they actually set up there. And the whole process of that, the pictures, the story, the videos is awesome.
Because if that continued, there'd be no helichrysum.
Yeah, and see, that's the thought.
That's the problem.
Is that your sourcing of helichrysum is going to go way, way down over time. But, of course, Young Living has secured this spot where we can at least have a limited supply. I love helichrysum. That's amazing for so many reasons. But all right, so I'm going to start bringing in our guest here, Heather Dawn Godfrey. She's the author of award-winning and best-selling new release, Essential Oils for Mindfulness and Meditation and Essential Oils for the Whole Body. She is a fellow of the International Federation of Aromatherapists, the IFA, and supports the IFA's teaching and learning program as a consultant and examiner. She's also a member of the International Federation of Holistic Therapists, the FHT, and she's going to be joining us from, I think I'm pronouncing this right, but it's Lyme Regis on the south coast of England. It's a place that I definitely want to be. I'd love to switch places with her right now. Heather, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you. And you did pronounce it correctly. It is Lyme Regis.
Well
done.
So tell me, a couple questions right off the top of my head is, what time is it over there? Because it's about 11:10 a.m. here in Texas. What time is it over there?
It's 5:10 nearly, and it's going dark as well. So we're entering our evening.
And how's the weather there?
We have had 2 or 3 really beautiful but very cold days. So beautiful blue skies, really lovely.
Oh, awesome.
But I think there's worse weather to come later, but never mind. Enjoying it while it lasts.
Yeah, so we're cold here, and cold to us is 46. So are you around that temperature?
Oh, no, very, very cold. So probably about between 5 and 10 degrees.
What?
Oh, no.
Yeah, cold, yes.
That's
Almost
extremely
freezing.
cold. Yes.
Yeah.
Almost
Wow.
freezing, yes.
Okay, so
But we love the sunshine.
yeah, I'll pass on that. Yeah, that's a little bit cold
Okay.
for me, but beautiful nonetheless. So, do you live right there on the coast?
Yes, Lyme Regis sits right on the coast. So we've got a harbour, very small harbour, and we have this beautiful panoramic view of the sea and the coastline. So it's lovely.
So, would you just take a picture and email it to me? I'd like to see it sometime later today. So, if you think about it, send me a picture. I'd love to see it.
And we'll put it on our
Okay.
site. People want to see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's take
We'll
me
do
to
that.
my relaxing place. It sounds beautiful.
All right, cool.
Okay.
For folks that are watching us on video, of course, if you're not, make sure you go to YouTube and check it out there, or Facebook, or even Instagram. We have stuff there. But we've got video of this, and of course, you can see a picture of Heather there with her book, Essential Oils for the Whole Body. So tell me a little bit about your background, how you got started. We'll just cover that like in 90 seconds or so. What got you started in the whole world of aromatherapy?
Okay, so I go way, way back into the early 70s when I was a teenager and living in London. And I met Robert Tisserand and a lot of other people, but Robert was a predominant figure for me because he introduced me to essential oils. He was just setting up his company then, his business. So I learned about essential oils through working for him. I worked for him for a while. So that was my introduction. But at the same time, I was introduced to meditation, as you did in those days, and a lot of other complementary therapy modalities, such as homeopathy, acupuncture, reflexology, the whole, the spectrum. So I learned about most of these other modalities as well. But I stayed with essential oils because they resonate with me, my personality, the best. That they're all very useful in their own way, but I think we find our way in using a modality that will suit whatever condition that we need, or if we're going to practice that modality, something that suits our way of being with it as well. So that was where I started, and then later on, I did a degree at the University of Salford and did a joint BSc honours degree in complementary medicine and counselling skills. So I then embedded more about the background of complementary medicine per se, and also my dynamic, the way where I come from with essential oils, tends to be psycho-emotional. So I tend not to look at the ingestion of essential oils per se, but I do look at their psycho-emotional influence and their topical use because I find them to be very, very effective. So I've specialised in that sort of area.
Can you give me an example of that? Can you give me like a psycho-emotional side of it? Maybe a specific example of course, not using names or any of that kind of stuff, but where somebody had, this particular kind of thing and you helped.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been doing this for so many years. I have
Right.
a sort of vast array of clients who come to me for different reasons. And often they're quite complex reasons. So it's not often just one thing, but there's often a predominant thing, which may manifest. So, for example, if somebody's anxious, suffering from anxiety, they may have other skin issues going on, or other issues going on as sort of like a comorbidity. So, for example, depression and anxiety sit on the spectrum. So one goes at one end and one goes at the other. So you often find someone who has depression will also experience anxiety at some point in their journey. So I would look at either a grounding oil. So I've got frankincense.
Mhm.
Frankincense is excellent. Also patchouli and vetiver. They're very, very good grounding oils. And frankincense in particular slows the breathing down. It has a physiological effect. So it's not just a psycho-emotional one. It slows the breathing down, which means that the recipient takes in more oxygen, and more oxygen in the blood immediately instills a sense of peace and calm. So it works on a physiological level, but
Oh.
also it works psycho-emotionally as well, and has a lovely calming effect. We associate frankincense, myrrh, and patchouli.
Now,
Um,
how quick would that happen? So if like, say I
well,
applied frankincense, where would I apply it, and how quickly would you expect it to react?
okay, well, immediately, mostly. It has but whether it's long term or not is another question, because it depends on what's causing the anxiety and what is causing the depression, or whatever condition that somebody presents with. It depends on where that's coming from. But I do find that essential oils have an immediate psycho-emotional impact, and that can be calming or uplifting, or a sense of feeling safe, um, bright, awake. So those are immediate responses, and that's a response to the chemicals. So there's a chemical and neurological impact from smelling the essential oil.
Now, is that from
As
topical application, or from the diffusing, or getting it somehow into the breathing it in? Which are you, or
all,
is
all of
both?
all of those,
Okay.
all of those. There are various ways. So I use roller bottles, where you can pop some base oil in with your essential oils and
Cool.
create a perfume, a therapeutic perfume. So you can roll that on quite safely. And you can give that to children or to young people quite safely too, because they're not coming into direct contact with if you want the naked essential oil, but it's made safe in the carrier medium. So we could use a roller bottle, and you can also put a little bit on your temples, it depends. Or a nasal inhaler. They're like Vicks. I don't know if you have them over there,
We do.
where they're a little Yeah, okay, so similar thing, where you can pop drops of essential oils within on a, sorry, that's my iPad. Um, on a piece of cotton wool, or some kind of wadding or padding, and then close it up. And again, they're safe for children because the children don't come into direct contact with the essential oil. But you can use those immediately by just smelling them through your nose. Then obviously room vaporizers are wonderful too.
Right.
The thing with room vaporizers is you need to check. If you're doing it on your own, that's fine. But if you're doing it with other people or in a communal area, you just need to check that everyone else is okay with that odor, because not everybody likes what you like.
True. Very true.
Yeah, and yeah. But if we're talking about anxiety and depression, combining essential oils into a massage medium is a really excellent way. So for immediate self-help, sort of a rescue remedy type way, I would use the roller bottles and nasal inhaler, because you're getting an immediate blast, as it were, of the essential oil by yourself. And that's very convenient because you can pop those in your handbag and use them whenever you want. But massage, combining essential oils in a massage medium and using massage is an incredible way to help deal with conditions such as anxiety, depression, grief, anything where there's, you want to ground someone or give them a sense of feeling nurtured and safe. And also the essential oils will penetrate through the epidermis, not in their whole form because they break down into their component parts, but the smaller molecules do penetrate through, and then will get into the circulatory system, and therefore they then circulate the whole body and will have an influence that way. But you've got the dual effect, or you've got three effects. The client or person you're massaging inhales the odor, which is the quickest way. You're massaging the essential oil with a medium on the skin, so they go through the epidermis. And also you get the other effect of touch, which I think is a very good combination when you're dealing with conditions such as grief, anxiety, or depression.
Well said. So one of the other parts in your book that I thought was fascinating is the introduction of, or the use of essential oils in clay masks. So, I really hadn't heard this before. So I'm just curious. So there's different types of clay, and I want to say fairly focused, but can you give me an example of a particular, clay mask that maybe you would use, why, and what essential oils you would use, and what effect that essential oil would have, or what benefit it would bring to that experience?
Okay, well, there's various reasons you can use clay masks, and it could just be for deep cleansing or refreshing the skin. So a very basic recipe, and I've got them in my books. I've got different recipes in my books for different reasons, but just using, say, green clay. With 2 or 3 tablespoons, so you'd have a couple of tablespoons of clay, a couple of teaspoons of distilled water, and then a drop. I'm very, very careful about the quantity of essential oils that I apply, because they are so highly concentrated,
Right.
and they can cause skin irritation and sensitization. So there are certain oils that you wouldn't put on your face. For example, I wouldn't put lemongrass on my face because the skin's delicate, and citral oils and citrusy oils, not necessarily mandarin, but talking more aldehydic oils, tend to be irritant to the skin. So on our face, we want to use more gentle oils. So I might use mandarin, a little bit of a very small amount of chamomile, or tea tree. It depends on what's going on. If you have acne, tea tree is very good. Carrot seed is a lovely oil for dry, mature skin. So is frankincense. So I would use 1 drop and no more of an essential oil within that mixture.
Okay.
And then you can then just, that's a very simple recipe. Then you just put the clay mask on using your fingers, or a wooden a spatula, whichever you prefer to use. Fingers are obviously easier because you can get into the contours of your face more easily. You obviously avoid your eyes, mouth, and nasal area. Don't want any of the clay to go around your eyes, or the essential oils to go near your eyes. And then you would remove it just before it starts to dry. So we don't let clay masks dry out. We just as they start to dry out is the best time to take them off. So you rinse them off with water, and then just refresh the skin with your hydrosol, just to cleanse off any residue bits. But that way, the clay tends to draw out from the skin impurities.
Right.
But you can add other things to that. You could add a drop of base oil as well to your clay mask, because it would help to soften the skin as well. So there's
Did you say basil?
Base oil. Sorry, we call it basil carrier oil.
Okay.
So you'd say like a jojoba oil. Sorry, language difference.
No, I get you.
Yeah. So a carrier oil. So coconut oil or jojoba oil, apricot kernel. You could just add a little drop of that with your clay mask. So yes.
Yeah. So from what I understand about clay masks is that, of course, they're very antibacterial and very, very good for the skin because they kind of suffocate, I guess, bacteria. And as far as if you're going to add frankincense in, what benefit specifically would you be looking for from adding the frankincense to that clay mask? What benefit specifically would you get?
Well, with all essential oils are antiviral, so they're antimicrobial, but certain essential oils are really great at skin healing, so they're cicatrisants. So really I'd be looking at cleansing, a deep cleanse, and the benefit. Say, for example, if I had dry skin, I would select an essential oil that would complement that. But remember, essential oils themselves are drying to the skin. And this is why we put them in a medium or we put them in an oil. We don't put them directly on our skin because they actually dry the skin out. So we sort of, we're not getting the, just spoil the effect. So we just want to get the molecules to spread in a very gentle way. So topically, we're looking at skin healing because we're just using we're just affecting the superficial layers of the skin. So we're looking at skin healing, skin cleansing, and skin toning using the essential oils and the face.
Could you? Now I know you don't represent a particular brand or anything like that, so we're not talking a particular product or a particular brand. But with respect to frankincense, and you're mentioning healing, what is it about the frankincense that's going to bring healing to the skin?
Okay, so frankincense is a resin, as is myrrh, and you find that sort of looking at the law of signatures, they within the plant. Okay, so we'll take it right back. So within the plant, the main roles of essential oils within a plant are that they're antimicrobial, they're attractant, they're repellent, etc. They aid reproduction, but one of their key factors is that if the plant is wounded in any way, the essential oils will be charged or sent to that area within the tissue of the plant to aid healing and to aid an antimicrobial event, so that it would stop infection coming in and invading the plant. And this is a similar thing that happens to us, to our skin, to us as humans, because we have a very similar physiology. So essential oils work in a similar way for us. So with frankincense and myrrh, they're resinous oils, so they exude, along with galbanum as well. That's another resinous oil. But in particular, if you think of frankincense exuding from the cut within the bark, which is how essential oil is extracted from the tree, it exudes to protect the tree. So it dries and protects the tree, and it has a similar effect on our skin. So it protects our skin. So it has this antiviral, skin healing, tissue healing, tissue regenerating quality to it within its chemical composition.
So we're talking about constituents of the frankincense essential oil. So you mentioned drying, and you mentioned which can be protective, I guess, and then you mentioned antibacterial, antimicrobial kind of a thing so I can understand the protective. But is there something in the frankincense specifically that promotes any kind of regenerative process, or is that outside of what you're talking about?
No, it's not. But the thing is, it's quite complicated because essential oils have a number of chemical constituents, individual chemical constituents that make up that particular essential oil. So yes, you can sort of attribute sort of skin regeneration or skin rejuvenation and healing to certain functional groups. So I've been thinking alcohols and what have you, but really what's going on is a synergistic effect. So it's a synergy of the particular molecules within a particular oil that creates that general, and I know we have to be careful about using the word healing, but repairing or supporting quality that aids the body to help itself, to aid itself.
There we go. So it's kind of like an example that I use is like if you've got we have Home Depots here. Do you have Home Depots over there in England or no?
I bet not.
So, I don't know, maybe something similar, but
well, it's a place where like construction folks, they go and they get what they need there to go build what they need to build.
Okay, right? Yes, yeah.
So
B&Q, yes.
That's kind of how I picture, an essential oil comes in, it's got all of these constituents. Your body says, okay, hey, I just went shopping, I got all this stuff, and I can go do repairing. But we know the body does the work, other than, of course, the supplementation of antiviral, antibacterial, and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That essential oils can bring with it on its own, but the synergistic or I don't even know what to call it, but maybe synergistic with the constituents in oil and what the body can do to heal itself very, very quickly. So when you have protectant and you have, this healing supplies, if you will, and the body can
Yeah.
do amazing things with all of that. But we know the body does the work. So I just want to kind of dig into that a little bit and see your take on how that would work.
And Heather, did you say the name of that? We call it Home Depot. Did you say it was Man-Q?
No, B&Q. That's
B&Q. I thought you said Man-Q.
Yeah.
I said that's pretty awesome.
No.
It's the man store. Do you get a lot
I will
of
get one free.
a lot of clients per se that are men? Do you have a lot of men using oils
I
in
have a
London?
mixture. Yeah. I know I have a mixture of clients, both female and male.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah. Mm,
Cool.
yes.
So, all right. So let's get into real quick. I want to talk about internal use of essential oils. And this is an area that you don't really talk about a whole lot in here, other than, I mean, you don't advocate in your book, right? And I understand that there's different like schools of thought on that. So the French will say, internal use of essential oils is good, but it has to be, of course, the quality of the oil has to be really, really high. And then, of course, the amount that you use, you got to be careful with that. And you got to know what you're using it for, and you got to watch out for certain caveats. So the French advocate that. Of course, Nikki and I both work in this field, and we're surrounded by, we know hundreds of people and really access to thousands of people with stories of internal use of essential oils. And it's something that you're pretty against. So I just want to get your take on the why.
Okay. Absolutely. No, I'm not against the internal use of essential oils per se.
Okay.
For me, it's about boundaries, boundaries of practice and boundaries of knowledge. So, as you mentioned before, in France, they actually prescribe essential oils through the pharmaceutical industry or through the local doctor.
Oh, really? Like what? What would they prescribe?
Well, they would put essential oils into vegetable capsules. As you would take vitamins, they would put the essential oil in an emollient within a capsule, and then you would take it as a medicine.
Gotcha.
So the difference there is that they're being prescribed with a knowledge of the pharmacology of the essential oil, and also the chemistry of the body, and also the chemistry of anything else that you might be taking, any other medication, because essential oils can cross-react with certain medications or components within either the essential oils or medication. So you need to have a really good understanding of pharmacology and chemistry, biochemistry. And the other thing to remember with essential oils is in the way that we buy them, they are highly, highly concentrated.
Right.
It takes several hundred kilos, for example, of lavender to produce just a few ounces of the essential oil. And if we were eating herbs in its natural form, you're just getting a minuscule, not even a drop of essential oil, but a minuscule amount of essential oil in that herb, along with other phytochemicals and trying to think of the word, flavonoids, and I can't think of the word, carbohydrates, etc. So you're getting a mixture with minerals. So you've got a mixture, you've got almost a cocktail of different ingredients within that herb alongside the essential oil, a very small amount of essential oil that will balance any irritant effect that the essential oil might have, would be balanced by those other ingredients. But when we isolate essential oils, we're taking them out of the plant. They become something else. So the essential oil in the plant is different from the essential oil that we extract, because it immediately goes through a process that we call oxidization. As part of the process of extraction, some of the molecules are oxidizing, and therefore the essential oil you have external to the plant isn't the same as it was within the plant. On top of which, you've got this intense quantity of essential oil. So when we talk about just taking a single drop of essential oil, we're actually taking it several times its strength, as opposed to taking it within a plant or a herb.
Sure.
So we have to be really careful. There are certain essential oils that are quite toxic. For example, eucalyptus with the cineol content. It's very good, a very good eucalyptus. It's used in medications, but it's used in a very small quantity. And again, it's often used in counterbalance with other chemicals. as well when you make up medications, so that it would prevent its irritant effect. But there are certain oils that can be toxic to the system and toxic to the organs of the digestive system. And I think we have to have a very clear knowledge about the essential oil that we're taking in. And it may not be an immediate effect. It can be cumulative. Sensitization is a cumulative process. So you could take it quite easily, several times, and it wouldn't have an effect. And then all of a sudden it would have an effect on you, because the body is saturated with that chemical. So we do have to be careful, because we're quite vulnerable, unless we have a good understanding of the chemistry of the essential oil and how that essential oil chemistry, the chemicals within that essential oil, interact within our body, within our, with our digestive enzymes, with the whole process of the way the digestive system works.
Sure. Now, with respect to internal use, have you ever had an experience where somebody you're working with has taken essential oils internally and then had some benefit or even an adverse reaction?
Okay. I don't come across that because I never ever advocate it. So anyone around me, I would be cautious. I do know that obviously we have medications that are sort of come from the pharmaceutical industry, for example, peppermint oil for digestive problems. So they are taken in a controlled way, as I said, in those capsules, and you'll find them in sweets, peppermints in peppermint sweets. So it's not doing you any harm in that quantity. So it's parts per million. So have I come across any? No, because I don't know anybody around me who takes them straight from the bottle, as it were. I mean, even putting them in water, the essential oils and water don't mix.
Correct.
So you have this sort of separation going on. So even if you were to swallow the essential oil in water, I have read online, and I have come across articles, and I have come across other therapists who've come across this, where the essential oil has been taken internally via water, and the essential oil burns the mucous membrane. And then you have a severe reaction where the throat can start to blister. So it depends on the oil that you're using. And again, this is where the knowledge of the oils comes in, because some oils you can get away with doing that, lavender, for example, but other oils, not so. You wouldn't want, for example, to use lemongrass in that way, because it would burn your mucous membrane, and therefore it would have an adverse effect on your digestive system as well. So yes, I have, I can pull out lots of stories that I've come across where there's this adverse reaction to taking essential oils internally. Again, it's quantity as well. Some people think that the term oil means, that's a very misleading term, because it gives the impression that they're emollient, whereas they're not.
Sure. So
they're the opposite.
But as far as you working directly with somebody, you don't get into that area. So you're not, as far as the reason why I brought that question up is, have you heard my story about when I had shingles? Have you heard that story? I talked about it on the show.
I haven't heard that story. I've used. Yeah, go on. Tell me your story, and I'll tell you mine.
Okay. So just real quick, because I know we're going a little bit late on time, but just real quick. So. I went through a shingles bout probably, a few years ago, and I was in so much pain, and I was reminded by one of the people in our community that there's this blend of essential oils that you put in a capsule and you take it, and it was really, really good for pain. I'm like, well, it's either I'm going to go to the hospital and try and get some kind of painkillers, right, which I was not a fan of, or I'm going to try this. And I'm like, okay, so I have the oils here in my house, so I put them in a capsule, no carrier oil whatsoever, just the drops of oil, and it was about 19 drops of oil. So we're talking about a pretty good quantity, right? And then I took it, and then about within 10 minutes, I'll say 10 minutes to give myself a little buffer there. The pain went from a 10 to about a 1.5. So no other effects, right? I didn't have any stomach problems. I didn't have any other adverse effects at all, but what I had is my pain level went from a 10 down to a 1.5, thereabouts. I was able to sleep. I was able to function as a human being. Now, about 2 hours and 45 minutes to 3 hours later, the pain starts coming back. I take another one. I only took it as needed, but I was able to keep that deep nerve pain gone from using that blend of essential oils. So powerful story, no adverse effects. But this is one of the things I know I come in contact with people that are dealing with shingles in my age group. I'm 50 now, so, people in my age group have that. So it's something that I think is important to at least talk about. That's why I wanted to bring that up.
Okay, no, that's a really good story, and of course, it worked for you. But if you were to take that regularly, it might have a different effect. So you would have to measure it.
Too much, right? For a long time. I don't know.
Internally, no, I wouldn't want to be doing. So obviously, it's worked for you. And I, may I ask which oils they were?
So it was frankincense, copaiba, Idaho balsam fir, which is.
Idaho grand fir. No.
It's grand
That's
fir.
a new scientific name.
Yeah, right. And then clove. So those were the 4 oils that were in it, and it was about 4 drops each, 5 drops if I could do it, but I had to fit. The capsule only holds so much, but that was the deal. And people I talk to, especially if they've got shingles or somebody's dealt, and this isn't just me because I know other people that have taken this and had amazing benefit from it, and I'm like, I'm all in on that one.
Okay. Clove can be quite sensitizing as well. It's quite a strong one. I know it's in medications, but again, it's about quantity and not and how often you use it.
Sure.
But my story is I've used it topically. So I've created an ointment and used a combination of because I wouldn't use eucalyptus internally, but eucalyptus, geranium, and peppermint. And that has dealt with the pain almost immediately, just very gently soothing it onto wherever the area. The other thing that it does as well, and also the clove that you use is highly antiviral. So the shingle virus, it can be combated. And I found that the client I used this ointment on has never had a recurrence of the shingles. And often you find it's related to cold sores. It's the same viral base, isn't it? So it tends to stay within the body and then flare up when the body's under stress.
Yep.
But with this client and using it topically, they didn't get a recurrence ever again.
So tell me about the pain real quick. So eucalyptus, geranium, and I wrote that down, by the way, because again, I wasn't able to get rid of the skin pain as much. It reduced a little bit. And I know like blue cypress and ravensear are good in that area, but I hadn't heard of
that worked.
So
eucalyptus, geranium, but they're also very strongly, powerfully antiviral as well, and they seem to work very well in combination against sort of the shingles virus.
Did that work for the skin pain or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it worked for the pain. Yes,
awesome.
It did.
And again, you're saying eucalyptus, peppermint, geranium, and did you say clove as well?
No. Okay. I just recognized that you used clove.
Okay,
and clove is used as clove is highly antimicrobial, and it's also used to kill pain. And we chew cloves and we've got toothache, so it would be great to reduce pain. But I would be careful about taking the essential oil internally.
Sure.
In high quantity.
So here's the deal, though. Let me just get this note in here. So I applied all kinds of oils topically, right? This it wouldn't work with topical application. It was the internal ingestion of that combination that affected the change. This is what fascinates me, is that the internal use of the oil, the body deals with it somehow through the metabolism process, deals with it differently than the topical application. It's amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, because you're going into different organs in a different way. Whereas if you put it on topically, it avoids the digestive system and just goes straight into the circulation.
The bloodstream, yeah.
So really, topical application can be as effective. And again, you're sidestepping the digestive system in a way that you avoid irritation. The other thing is as well, when you take things internally, and this is why they are prescribed as medications too, you're getting the whole oil, whereas topically you don't get the whole oil penetrating the epidermis, but you still do get an underlying effect from taking or from applying the essential oil topically.
Oh, yeah.
So you could do it with irritable bowel syndrome or whatever's going on underneath, by creating a blend and putting it into an emollient and then covering it, putting it onto the skin and covering it. It would eventually go into the system and into the tissues surrounding that organ.
Cool.
So it would support that organ, but without the irritant, the risk of irritancy that you would get from taking it internally. I'm not, as I say, I'm not, when I say I don't advocate the layperson to just use essential oils internally unless they know exactly what they're doing, unless they're trained. But I'm not saying by saying that essentials don't work internally. It's just that we do it consciously.
Sure.
And carefully. I mean, Christopher Varsi has written an amazing book, Natural Antibiotics and Antivirals, and he has a chapter in there about essential oils, using them topically and using them internally. But he uses them in a context where it's an emergency.
Gotcha.
So you'd use them for the short term.
Well, certainly the shingles for me was an emergency.
Right.
Yes,
so what I'm hearing,
yes.
what I'm hearing is safety, knowledge, and quality. Those are very important.
Well, yeah, because you wouldn't go down to like your perfume store and pick it up just any quality.
Exactly.
Well, it says lavender on it. I'll
I'm
go
just
ahead
going
and
to drink that. No.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
Always.
You must,
in everything. Safety's first.
Absolutely.
As always.
You need to know where your oil, where your oils are coming from, definitely.
Yeah.
So quality does come into that.
All right, Heather, we're gonna have to wrap up on time, but I wanted to just let folks know that if they want to get your book, Essential Oils for the Whole Body, The Dynamics of Topical Application and Absorption by Heather Dawn Godfrey, that it is available. Can you tell them where it's available, where the best place to get it is?
Well, it's available online from most outlets. So it's quite easy to, to go online. Amazon or Inner Traditions is the publishing company, so you can get it through them. I think we've got Waterstones, Barnes and Noble, Simon and Schuster. There's lots of outlets that you can, if you go online, you can, or you could go to your local bookstore and they would order it for you. But the book covers a whole spectrum of things. So it goes from the sort of physiological use of essential oils right to the more gentle and subtle use of essential oils. So it gives you a really good platform, and also has safety information within the book so that it would help anyone who wants to use the essential oils and to know how to use them safely. There's a chapter there on safe use.
Awesome.
So it's a good
what website would be if folks want to connect with you? What website would be a good place to go? It's
www.aromantique.co.uk. So that's AROMANTIQUE. So aromantic, aromantique. And I've got articles on there as well and little bits of information.
Okay, and we'll put that website information in the details of the podcast and the videos and all that, so folks can get out there too. And also, we have an email that we'll put up as well. We appreciate you coming on the show. This was a great conversation. I had so much fun.
Thank you.
And
thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
Oh, you're quite welcome. And it's you're our first guest from England, so that was You just sound smarter. You just sound smarter than me. I don't know what the deal is there, but I love the accent.
Oh no.
Yes, thank you for being on the show, Heather. We appreciate all your information.
Oh, you're very welcome. I've really enjoyed it. Okay.
All right. Have a great night.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you again soon.
And you.
All right,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was fun, right? I mean, lots of knowledge there. And, talking to somebody from England who's a specialist in aromatherapy was fun. What did you think?
That was great.
Yeah, you liked it too, huh? Okay, as we wrap up the show, just wanted to remind folks, if you're looking for high-quality essential oils to add to your home, trust the company that Nikki and I personally use and recommend, Young Living Essential Oils. It's a farming company that oversees the entire essential oil process, from farming the plants, distilling the oils, testing, bottling, delivery, and world-class customer service. I've been to many of their farms. I've worked the process. It's amazing. If you're interested in learning more about essential oils and the company that we use and trust, text the word oils, that's OILS, to 210-910-4174. We'll send the information right to your phone. And as we wrap up the show, quick reminder to check out our latest podcast on all the usual podcast platforms, and be sure you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube where we post videos of our show. There are links to everything you need to know in the details below, or you can check out our website at eotalkradio.com. That's going to be it for us. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next show.
All right. Bye, guys.